This is a story of a boy called Jack. Jack lived on a farm with his mother, and they were very, very poor. And Jack had one friend in the whole world, a friend that he loved more than anything else, was his cow, Daisy. Jack spent every day and all day with Daisy in the fields, having fun together. But one day, Jack's mother turned to him and said, "Jack, we're going to have to sell Daisy." "Not Daisy, Mum. She's my best friend." "I'm sorry," said his mum. "You're going to have to take her to the market and get a good price." So, that day, Jack put a leash around Daisy's neck. Very slowly, the two of them walked. Now Jack took his time, savouring every last moment he had with Daisy. And so it took him all day to get to the market. And when he got there, everyone was gone, except one old man. And the old man looked at Daisy and said, "I'll give you a bag of beans for that cow." Jack laughed. "A bag of beans for Daisy? You must be mad." But the old man didn't laugh. He said, "But these are magic beans." "Magic beans?" said Jack. "Yes, magic beans," said the old man. "Well, why didn't you say so?" said Jack. "Magic beans is different altogether." And he handed over Daisy and he took the beans. And as he walked home, he had a bounce in his step, because he knew his mum would be very, very pleased with him. But when he got home, his mum saw the beans and she turned red with rage. "You sold our best cow, and all you got were those lousy, stinking beans!" And she grabbed the beans off Jack and she threw them out of the window. Poor Jack was devastated, and his mum had not stopped there. "You go to bed without any supper," she said, and she continued to rant and rant and rant. So Jack went up the stairs to bed, his tummy rumbling with hunger. And that night he was sad. He had lost his best friend, and now he was hungry. But overnight, as Jack slept, something magical happened. Outside Jack's window grew and grew and grew a huge beanstalk. Now, when Jack woke up the next morning with his tummy rumbling, the room was dark, and he heard a creak outside his window. When he opened the window curtains, he saw the huge beanstalk. "That's magical," he thought. "Well, I'm going to have to climb that." So he pulled on his boots, put on his best shirt, and he began to climb the beanstalk. Climb the beanstalk, climb the beanstalk, climb the beanstalk, all the way up to the very top. And when he got to the top, Jack looked around. It was a very strange world. The flowers were 3 times the size of him, the trees 5 times the size of him, and Jack saw a house bigger than anything he had ever seen before. Just the door itself was bigger than Jack's whole house. Jack went up to the door and crept in through a little nook. Inside he smelt something delicious. It smelt like soup. Jack went onto the table. It was a huge table. He had to climb, very much like he climbed the beanstalk, up onto the table and saw the humongous bowl of soup. Now Jack's tummy was rumbling with hunger, so he took a little sip. Oh, it was delicious. But just as he was settling down to enjoy a bit more of the soup, he heard a terrifying sound. "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a foolish man. Be he alive come into the house and smelt Jack. Jack hid in the oven, peered out as the giant grabbed his soup and slurped it down and grabbed a big glass of milk and glug, 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 drank that down too. And then the giant stretched and sat in a huge rocking chair, and then he spoke again. Wife, bring me my money bags. Bring me my money bags. Bring me my money bags. And then the giant's wife, who Jack didn't even know was there, came out with a huge bag of gold. Jack watched as the giant counted his gold. There was so much. Jack thought to himself, with a bag of gold like that, his mother and him would eat for the rest of their lives. So Jack waited until the giant went to sleep. And Jack crept across the room to the giant, and he grabbed that bag of money and he put it on his back and he ran as fast as he could back to the beanstalk, and he went down the beanstalk, down the beanstalk, down the beanstalk, down the beanstalk. And when he got to the bottom, his mother came out and she was white with worry. Jack, where have you been? I've been worried, sick. Why could you just go and leave me like that? You give your poor mama. And then she saw the money bags. What's that? She said. And Jack gave her the bags and told her all about the giant at the top of the beanstalk with the huge mansion and the bags of money. And his mother said, "Oh, what a good boy you are, Jack. I'll just put this here." And she took the money bags and put them safe away in her bedroom. And then she turned to Jack and she said, "Jack, you are my best boy. What a lucky mama I am to have a boy like you. I was just thinking, Jack, I wonder if there's anything else up there in that giant's mansion, that big scary human eating giant's mansion. Perhaps you could go up and have a look." So Jack went back to the beanstalk and that's right, do this with me, climb the beanstalk, climb the beanstalk, climb the beanstalk, climb the beanstalk. And when he got to the top, there were the big flowers, there was the big tree, and there was the big house. He snuck in up onto the table and this time it was cake. Delicious, lovely cake. Jack took a bite. Yummy. And then he had another bit of bite, and another bit, and another bit, until he heard a terrifying sound. Foo, in came the giant. "I smell the blood of a foolish man. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." Jack hid for a second time and watched as the giant came in and glug, 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 drank the milk and then ate up all the cake. And then he stretched and sat in his chair and he called to his wife. "Wife, bring me my golden hen. Bring me my golden hen. Bring me my golden hen." And so the giant's wife came out with a huge hen, and Jack thought, it's quite an impressive looking hen, but he was quite surprised when the hen gave a little clock, clock, and out came a golden egg. And then it gave another clock, clock, and out came another golden egg. And then it wasn't done there, another clock, clock, and out came another golden egg. Jack thought to himself, with a hen like that, his mother and him would never have to worry about money ever again. So Jack waited until the giant went to And then he crept across the room and he grabbed the golden hen and he put it on his back and he ran all the way to the beanstalk. And then, that's right, do it with me, he went down the beanstalk, down the beanstalk, down the beanstalk, down the beanstalk. And when he got to the bottom, his mum was waiting. Oh, what, a hen? Well, we don't need a hen. It's a big hen, but we don't need it. And then she saw the golden eggs. Oh, Jack, you did well, my boy. And she took the hen and she put it in her room, safe and sound. And Jack's mum and Jack were fine for a while. But the thing about people is that they very soon start to get satisfied with what they've got and start to want more. And it wasn't long before Jack's mother started to wonder what else was up in that mansion in the sky. And so one day she turned to Jack and she said, Jack, I was thinking maybe you should go back up the beanstalk and see what other goodies are up there. And so for the third time, Jack climbed the beanstalk, climbed the beanstalk, climbed the beanstalk, climbed the beanstalk. And when he got to the top, he saw the trees, he saw the flowers, he saw the mansion. He snuck in and he smelled, oh, delicious stew. He climbed up the table and ate some of that stew. He was glad to be back because the cooking was so much better than his mother's. But then he heard that terrifying sound. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a foolish man. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Jack hid in the oven and watched as the giant glug, 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 drank his milk and ate up all his stew. And then the giant stretched and sat down in his chair and called to his wife for the third time. Wife, bring me my golden harp. Bring me my golden harp. Bring me my golden harp. And so out came his wife with a beautiful golden harp. And the golden harp played itself, and it played something a little like this. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful song that the giant was very soon asleep. And Jack thought to himself, and he thought that his mum would love a harp like that would send her off to sleep and play itself. And so he crept across the room and he grabbed the harp. But this was a talking harp. It woke up, Master, Master, thief, thief. And so the giant woke up. What? And Jack ran as fast as he could to the beanstalk and the giant chased him. And when Jack got to the beanstalk, he began to go down the beanstalk as fast as he could, but the giant came on behind him and he got onto that beanstalk and he went down the beanstalk as fast as he could. And Jack got to the bottom and he called to his mother and he said, Mother, bring me my axe. And his mother came out with the axe and he chopped down the beanstalk. And the beanstalk went to the ground. And that was the end of the beanstalk and the end of the giant. And it was also the end of Jack's adventure. Now Jack had everything he could ever need, and his mother did as well. They had the money bags, they had the hen, and they had the golden harp. But what they didn't have was the one thing that Jack wanted more than anything in the world. They didn't have Daisy. So Jack went from town to town, over hill and mountain, all around, until he found her in a lovely field. And when she saw him, she said moo, and Jack gave her a big hug. And he paid over the odds for Daisy, and he took her back to his farm with his mother, and he gave her an extra green field to live in. And Daisy was happy, and Jack was happy, and Jack's mother was very happy. She had all the gold she could ever need. And so the three of them lived together, happily ever